Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about?
What's
You
up?
know what? Hey!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and Merry Christmas and all
And Merry,
that jazz.
happy Festivus for the rest of us.
Yes. How are you?
Oh, can't forget Kwanzaa. My Kwanzaa
Happy
folks.
Kwanzaa. Yes.
I am
Yes.
working on greater, as always.
You always. I love it. I love it.
How are
Love it.
you?
I am well. Thank you. It is 2023.
Yes,
I
it is.
feel like we just visited 2022.
Listen, it's gonna be 2024 in just a minute. So
Li-
before you blink your eyes, 24,
I
25, 26.
watched went back and watched our first show from 2022, celebrating our 100 shows.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I feel like that was yesterday.
just a few days ago. This life is so, it's just so precious, right? Because I was like, man, last year this time, Lord, only Jesus.
Oh
So,
wow. Was
the
it last
time
year?
that was
It
last year.
was.
It was last year. I was like, man,
Because we talked afterwards.
yeah,
And
just that fast.
how are you?
I'm one day at a time.
One day at a time.
One day at a time. Yes,
Listen,
ma'am.
I mean, I don't know. I guess some would say it's a sign of the times. That we just everything is it's like it's running all together.
It is. And that's why we got to be, focused and in tune with what's
True.
happening, right? Because if we're not, we're gonna miss it. So I like the word present. So that's been one of my things. I need to be more present. And
You really do have to be present
yeah,
versus I'm gonna mess with you versus the focus.
yes. But I think the
Because
focus helps you with the presence.
it depends though. Because if you focus on a particular
On the
thing,
wrong
you
thing. There
could
you go.
miss
I get
the
you. Yep.
present. You
I
could
would agree.
miss what is going on right now. If I
I guess
have this particular goal that I am tunnel vision on,
I
I
agree.
could miss what's going on around me, and I
100%.
look up and
It's done.
yeah,
It's done. I
yeah,
agree with you. So we need to
yeah,
be focused on the right thing, right? And
yeah. But at the same time, living in the moment.
correct. I guess that's to me. I'm focusing on this moment,
Okay.
focusing on what's happening.
Yeah.
Um,
You gotta live. You got to live in the moment. So this was this is our welcome 2023. This is Kitchen Talk CTC.
conversations that cook.
And that is what they do. So excited.
Yes.
To see you. Haven't seen you since way last year.
Right. Oh, that was way back. That was last week.
But just like wow, like it is going by so quickly and you really can. What I do want to say is if you are not careful, like we just said,
Mhm.
you can miss a whole lot.
Too much, too
Yeah.
much. And and that's kind of our society. We're always thinking about this, that, which is not a bad thing, but we still can't miss out on the present, because that's what it is. It's a you hear that old saying, it's a present. The
Yeah.
present is a present,
Yeah. It's a
and we
gift.
got to
Alicia
enjoy the
Keys,
gift.
a
There it is.
present is a gift.
We got to enjoy the gift, and if you don't, there was this story that I was told long ago. This young girl was given as a present, a gift, some new shoes. She's been asking for the shoes, wanted the shoes so bad, and they finally got her the shoes. And they were like these beautiful, beautiful shoes, but she never put them on. She didn't want to try them on or walk out, go out with them. She just was like all in awe of these shoes. She just kept them up. A few months go by, a year go by, another year go by, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna put these shoes on. The shoes don't fit.
They don't fit.
She didn't take advantage of it. So she grew out of it. She had to give those shoes away. And sometimes we miss out on enjoying the gift.
Mm-hmm.
And then we just gotta give it away. It's too
Mm-hmm.
late. So we gotta
Or
take
even
advantage.
worse than that, France, there are some things that you put away. If you don't use them, they will go bad. They will rot.
Correct. Correct.
So then, not only did you miss it, but you can't even give it away to somebody to use.
Can't even give it away.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
So when we think about it, I know some people do this. So do you do the New Year's resolutions or do you do new goals?
Well,
Uh
we've been doing this for so long. Like how many years? I I'm more of a goals type person, and I'm different when it comes to the new year, because my mindset is a little different in terms of January being, oh, that's my new year, right? So depending on what I have going on, that's the new year, the new moment
mm,
for me. So if I have a project, okay, here it is. Let's get started. This is the year. This is the time. So I don't wait till January to get started anymore. So I'll
mhm.
wait to start this fast. I'll wait to start this exercise routine. Nah, you know what? It's Tuesday. We're gonna start today.
Let's go ahead and start it today.
Go ahead, start it today.
I
So
actually do my new year at my birthday. I feel like that's the new year.
that's a good one too.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I try to do that. I will say that and this might be just a whole nother kitchen talk to have, but I will say that over this last year and a half, with the loss of my mother,
Mhm.
grief is a really I had no idea. Like, you
Yeah,
know how you have family members that pass away? Yes, you're sad, you know, but never dealt with grief like this.
yeah,
And
it's
it will
tough.
really, it will, it's, it, I don't want to say it steals from you, but if you don't know how to navigate it,
Yeah,
you lose time, you lose precious time
yeah,
because time is a commodity
very
that
much so.
we really, yeah.
And
Um, and it's
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 because I
go ahead.
it's tough. It's tough. I this year, well, last year, I've lost one of my aunts,
Mm.
and on the 31st, we did a funeral for one of my uncles,
Oh, wow.
and we rung in the new year all together as a family. But it's something different, you know, when you lose somebody that close to you. So these are like people. It's not, some people have aunts and uncles. They don't meet them or see them as often. Man, I see these people every December,
Yeah,
every November. They'll call me
yeah,
on my birthday, which is
yeah.
ironic. I just thought of that. Both of them were June babies. Both of them are my
Oh
month.
wow.
One is at the beginning of the month. My uncle's at the beginning of the month, and my aunt is at the end of the month.
Wow.
So it's tough. Um, I think it's we just got to keep pressing.
You do,
I didn't
but
understand that as a child.
you almost have to learn how to keep pressing.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm not a sad person. I'm a happy person.
Mhm, mhm.
That ain't to say I don't get upset. That ain't to say things don't make me, unhappy. But usually I can pick myself up and just kind of like, you know, press on through.
You're right.
But the mechanisms and the things that I used to do that did not work in the grief process.
Yeah. I
They did
think
not
that's
work in the grief process. It is so different. And that's not, I don't even think the grief process even ends. I think what I've learned is you just learn how to live with
mhm,
it and
mhm.
how to not let it um
Consume you.
consume you. Yes. Yes,
That is
because
it right there.
because it can. It
Oh,
definitely.
definitely. Definitely.
But and you're not letting it consume you. You still have to do that, even in a healthy way.
Yeah. It's remember, I saw something today and I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. It's a device that a company that takes the ashes of your loved ones and it don't
And
actually
makes
have to even
diamonds.
be the yeah, did you see that?
I
I
haven't
thought
seen
that
it.
was
I heard
really
about it.
cool because they
Mhm.
don't have to use their ashes. They can use like let's say their favorite shirt or clothing or something and use that something that you would remember.
Oh, now that I didn't know they could do it with clothing. I
Yeah,
knew that they could do it with ashes, from like cremation or whatever. But
yeah. I thought I saw that and I was like, man, that's pretty cool to have that as something to remember the person by.
sure, sure.
For my uncle, um, my cousins gave me his ties, a few of his ties. I was like, that's a
Oh,
good one. My grandfather, his hat. Still got to get my hat. Uncle Francis, I need my hat. But it's like things that you could remember or help you on those moments when you stop and think about it. Like, okay, I can look at this and I can use this and remember, who that person was to me. So
yeah.
it's
And even and friends, even in that process, it's like I had moments where I was kind of, I want to say, scared to remember
mhm,
because I felt like it would just literally take me out,
right.
and I wouldn't, not in the sense of suicide, but just in the sense of
I don't want to do
I
nothing.
may not stop crying. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
may not stop crying. I don't want to go down there. Oh, ain't nobody here to dig me out of it.
I think that's what the new year brings. Just a moment to remember,
Sure, sure,
remember the
absolutely.
past, remember and then to
Yeah.
think about
Reflection. It's
right,
reflection.
right. What's up next, right?
Right.
What's
Right.
up next?
It's reflection.
Ooh,
So,
Miss Tatum.
hey, Miss Tatum.
Hi there, how are you?
Good.
Good.
How
How
are
are
you? Happy New
you?
Year. Are you on mute?
Okay, I got it. My apologies for being tardy.
Oh,
Ah,
you're
you
fine.
good.
You're
You
fine.
good.
Happy New
That's
Year
one
to
of the
you
things I
both.
love about this platform. We don't have to worry about none of that. Just keep
Right,
it the way
right.
it
I
is.
remember that was gonna be almost 10 minutes or 30 minutes before the actual time we started shooting. Now, 2 seconds.
Right. Right. Well, all the setup, we didn't really have to be there that early,
Yeah,
but
but
we
we help
still
with the
love being
setup.
around each other that
Yeah,
early, so we
yeah.
was good. Which I'm praying that we get back to. France, I know you like this platform. But
Love it.
I'm sorry,
Love
we
it.
need to get back in the kitchen. Miss Tatum, what's going on? Welcome to 2023.
I know. I'm so excited. We need a
Well,
new
I'm
year.
excited that you're excited. That's good.
Yes,
We need a new
yes,
year.
yes.
So, yeah, you don't want to hear me say, okay, 3 years into COVID. It's still
Three
here.
Yeah.
years.
3 years. Can you believe
Pretty
Yeah,
it?
much.
3 years
Pretty much.
already. Like
yeah.
All
it's
of
crazy, but we're still dealing with it.
Yeah, we are. In a little different way. It's not nearly right now, not as serious as it was when we first started. And I'm ever so
Mhm.
grateful for that. We're not seeing the large number of people becoming seriously ill. We're not seeing, the massive numbers of people being hospitalized and dying. So that is certainly something that I know I'm grateful for. But yeah,
Oh,
we're still getting it.
ooh, I'm grateful for as well. Last year, this time was a different
Yeah,
conversation, right?
very different. Very
So
different.
we're making some strides, and hopefully, in the new year, we can take it to another level in terms of fighting off this virus.
So, Miss Tatum, are we making the strides because the virus is weakening, or more people are being vaccinated, or what do you think the cause is?
In all honesty, um, hmm. There are
Good
some
question.
it's a great question. There are some people that are vaccinated. We have not quite, probably about a 68% vaccination rate in Florida for the first 2 doses. So that's the basic vaccination without any boosters. Unfortunately, we only have about 10% of folks in Florida who have gotten the latest booster, the bivalent booster, which means, there's still a lot of people that, have a higher risk. In all honesty, the variants that have been coming out recently have not been as serious or as life threatening. So
Okay.
that's certainly something that's worked in our favor. What we're finding or what we're seeing is that while some people can become more seriously ill, it's not like it was when we had when it first came out, or then when we got the European variant or the Delta variant. I mean, then we saw big increases with lots of people becoming very ill. So we're not seeing that right now. So I'm glad the severity seems to be less. Unfortunately, the transmissibility is much higher, which means it's so much easier to get now
Mhm.
than it was before. So
It's still
yeah,
airborne. So in terms of wearing your mask is probably one of the still the best ways to ensure that you're
it is certainly recommended.
okay.
The CDC has recommended that people consider wearing it if they're in crowds. There are a number of states and cities that are starting to reconsider masking requirements, mostly on the West Coast, not here, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's certainly something. I mean, I did a presentation for orientation for new students today. And I have parents and transfer students and freshmen that are there. And I said, it's largely on us as individuals to protect ourselves and to look after ourselves. And there's a couple of things you need to do. Wear a mask if you're in a crowd. I said,
Yep.
there's not a mandate or a requirement. Nobody. And take care of yourself and do that for yourself. Make that decision on your own. I said, get vaccinated. The vaccines are out there. They do help. And get tested. If you think you have symptoms that sound like they might be COVID, get tested, because what you don't want is to spread it around a whole lot of other people. I said,
Right.
and if you think you've been exposed to somebody who definitely has it, get tested a couple of days later and see. So it's more at least for right now, with the variants that we have circulating right now.
Oh, we lost her. There it is. It's coming back.
I'm sorry. So it's, and here in Florida, we are the free state. So yeah.
Great term.
It's
Great
really-
term.
Yes.
Hey, I borrowed it from our governor.
Right. That part.
Yeah. Yeah, we just have to use our brains and really think about what it is we want to do and how we best take care of ourselves and our families.
Right.
I'm sorry, I still wear a mask when I go to the grocery store. I just that I have to take care of me.
Too.
So
I wear one in church. I wear one at in the grocery store. Anytime I'm gonna be inside with a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, I recently
I
had
still wear
to
one.
fly back down to Miami. I was telling Lisa I had a funeral to go to, and it was interesting that a lot of people didn't have a mask on. Now, the people who were working, some of the people who were working had a mask, but not all of them. But I had my mask. I was like, no, I'm not gonna chance this just to get home. I want to make sure that I get there and back safely. But it's another piece too, is understanding, people talking to you like right here.
Yeah.
You don't want this, right? So
yeah. I mean, anybody that's employed in jobs where you have a lot of contact with the public and there's constantly people around you, it would make sense to wear a mask. So if I were an employee in an airline, yeah, I would, because it's not even a set group of people. You're constantly, seeing people.
Yeah. So, Miss, let me ask you this: we haven't heard or really, I guess heard about the monkeypox. Is that all gone? We don't have to worry about that no more.
It's not gone, but it's not nearly as bad as they had anticipated that it would be. But it has been primarily confined within a certain population for the most part. It's mostly, we've had cases in the amongst gay men. That's or men who are having sex with men. That's the population that the vast majority of cases, and even those numbers are coming down significantly. So they are doing really well about vaccinations, and they're finding that even one dose of the vaccine, because it's a 2-dose thing, that even one dose is making a big difference in reducing the incidence of monkeypox. So yeah, I'm glad it didn't just totally explode. Yes, there is.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's a smallpox vaccine, but it works.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. But it works against the monkeypox. So that's been really, really good. So I've been glad that didn't become a big, big issue for us. That was tough. That was a tough one, because I think people were much more afraid of it because it was so visible.
Yes. Yes.
And that made a big difference to everybody. COVID, nobody knows unless you're coughing and hacking and sneezing and everything.
I still feel certain type of way if somebody's coughing.
If somebody start coughing,
whoa, you need to stay home. I still feel.
But even pre-COVID, when the flu was getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and people would still come to work, I'm like, you need to stay at home. Please stay at home.
Exactly.
I went into my office today and I just started cleaning everything, wiping everything down. I'm like, nah, I'm not playing with y'all.
Well, the thing of it is some people forget that with the flu, we still have in the United States anywhere from 20 to 50,000 people a year that die from the flu. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Just sort of, now with COVID, that number's 5-10 times that. We still have significant number more deaths with COVID, but Um, none of it's anything to kind of sneeze about. So yeah, if you're sick, stay home. Just stay home, take a few days, and then you can come back.
Yeah. Please stay home.
It's tough. And because we saw that during COVID, it's not always easy for people to stay home, dealing with, especially with this economy and people trying to get
Yeah.
from paycheck to paycheck. It's not as easy to say, it's not always easy to do. And then
Yeah.
we don't have that same mindset of, okay, I'm going to support you. Even though you're not coming to work, I'll give you that time off, or you could work from home just as long as you're
Mhm.
safe. During the COVID era, I think we were more conscious of our fellow coworkers. Now that we're out of it, I'm like, we gotta meet the quota, so to speak.
You're not out, and I'm
I
still
was about to
advocating.
say, Miss Tatum, we are still labeled in a pandemic. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, we are still in a pandemic. There's still an emergency declaration that's in effect. Yeah, nothing's changed.
Well, can y'all tell
Nothing.
the people?
Hello there.
They know.
Yeah,
Miss Kim, they
I
know.
I've really tried to advocate for allowing people to work from home if they're physically able to. If you're really, really sick and you can't do it, then you need to just take care of yourself and rest and relax and,
Right.
take your medications, drink lots of fluids and rest. But if you're capable of working, because a lot of COVID cases are asymptomatic, you don't have any symptoms, you're infectious, but you feel fine, let them work from home. I mean, it allows the work to still get done, or something
Correct.
can still get done. I mean, if it's work or training or whatever you ask that employee to do, I think it's really, really important. And then we don't expect people to just continually take time off and have to eat it and not have a means of supporting themselves. That's just doesn't work.
The only problem with that, Miss Tatum, is when we did the whole shutdown and people were supposed to be working from home,
Yeah. Yeah.
folks is not doing their job. And
Yep.
now I don't know about across the board. I don't know
I was
about
about to
across the
say,
world, but
that.
I'm
I was
gonna
about to say that.
imagine
Good job.
that across the world, it was some folk that just really wasn't doing their job. And I
Oh
feel
yeah.
this way because so many people had to come back to work. This could have been our way of life, working from home.
But
Had we
Nah,
but
they
done
weren't gonna let they
our job,
weren't gonna let it be.
had we done our jobs,
no, I'm sorry about that. Because Lisa, people on the job not doing their job.
look,
Talking
I
about.
You in
agree
the
with you.
office. It
I
don't
agree with you.
matter. You could
I
do it
agree
at
Please
with
don't
home.
get me started on that today.
I
Not
agree
today.
with you.
I'm gonna take
That
you
is
back to
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss in a plane, in a train, on a house, in a couch,
yeah,
on the couch. It don't matter.
yeah.
They weren't doing it in the
In
office.
the
They're not
office,
going to do it at
they're
home.
not
But
doing it out the
we
office.
can't put out the people that are doing the work, right?
Right.
Right.
They do no matter where they are, and more importantly, some of those people were doing more work at home
Yeah.
than they
Yeah.
were doing in the office.
Somewhere. Well, I know for some people, you do tend to do more work at home
Yep.
because it's right there. Like you'll
Correct.
wake up and you'll think about something. I know for me, because that's how my mind works. It's 10, 11 o'clock. Oh, I forgot to do such and such. Hop right on the computer. Da 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 da. You're supposed to be off,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is why I don't bring any work stuff home with me anymore.
Mhm.
Because I would get up and be, so if I thought about it and my stuff is at the office, then I know I'm not gonna get up and get in my car and drive up to the office.
I agree.
So you got to be careful.
You do,
You
because
got to
there's
be
a
so
Why you
careful.
cost.
talking about, so why you talking about me, Lisa?
I
I'm just
mean,
saying. I'm
That's
just
not right.
my room during the pandemic just looked like
an explosion.
here's your work
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Here is, oh my God, don't be involved in something. Here's your church stuff.
yep.
Here's your social services org. Here's your bed. You don't know when you get in the bed whether you get in the bed to sleep or read or what?
All that. It was all that.
Fortunate because
Everything.
my home office really became, I mean, and I use my office at home, but
Yeah.
during the pandemic, it really transformed
Yeah.
into something way different.
Yeah. That's because
Um,
you had a home office.
yeah.
Some of us ain't have no home office.
We had the living room, the dining room, and the
But that's what
bedroom.
I was, and that essentially happened to me. I was so tired of being in that room. I just
Mm-hmm.
moved from room to room on it,
Mm-hmm.
But again, I don't want us to penalize the people that are
True.
doing what they need to do because there's
True.
just a few that are not. And again, it don't matter. They weren't doing their jobs
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
job. In the office, they still
Yeah.
sitting right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are
A
a few
work is
that
gonna
took
work, and those that ain't gonna work just ain't gonna work. I
Not
mean,
gonna
it
work.
it really, it really
Mhm.
doesn't make that much. Pandemic
but
or no, at home or no.
Lisa, for us, there was another thing that really did that, and it really had nothing to do with the pandemic. It's called state employees. And the governor says, I want y'all back at work.
Correct.
You're
Correct.
spending all this money. Yeah, I need to see you back at work. So there was some other motivations there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know one of my friends, they sold their building. Everybody still work from home. They just got rid of the overhead.
And they don't realize that it cut. Although my light bill did go up a tad bit, but the light bills and the utilities for other areas, nobody's at work, so it cut their costs.
Right. I mean,
Mhm.
But
it
they
got
saw
us
that
to
they
look
didn't need the
at
building.
business.
They really literally saw that what you could do remotely. They didn't need people to actually come in. You know, some of our banks like that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Um,
they were
yeah.
already working towards that. Some of our
they
banks
were already
already working
moving
towards that.
towards because there are no tellers in my bank. Pre-pandemic, there are no tellers in my bank. In the branch that I go to. No
Yeah.
tellers. You
Wow.
got machines. You could talk to the person in the screen if you need to talk to somebody.
Well, yeah, that person's at home or
At
somewhere.
home. Right. I'm like,
Yeah,
you
they're
at
at
home with
home.
my money. You at home with my money?
I think that's the thing, though. We've learned that there are new ways of interacting with each other. There's new ways of doing business with each
Sure.
other. The question is, are we going to learn from that and use it moving forward? And that question, I want to kind of add on to that, Ms. Tatum, in terms of the technology for the vaccines and other things. We've learned a lot thus far in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
What's going to happen moving forward? Is there new concepts and things that are happening so that this won't be as big of a problem in the future?
Well, we hope it won't be, but it's funny you ask because I was just having this conversation with some other people earlier this week, and it's really forced us to look at some new models and some new ways of delivering healthcare. I mean, when you look at the explosion we had in delivering mental health
Yes.
and
Yes.
telemedicine, I mean,
Yes.
it's really taken off. I worked on a telemedicine project. Let's see, back in I'd say early 90s, I worked for a medical school, and Diana Ross's sister is a physician, and she was the dean of the medical school, and she was bound and determined we were going to do this telemedicine project because we had like 6 or 8 clinical sites across the state of Ohio. And so they put in the stuff and started doing it. Now, you couldn't, at the time, you legally couldn't bill for those services, but we used it for training and a lot of other things. So it's finally come into its own.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I'm hoping once the emergency declaration goes away, that some of the changes that it allowed with delivery of healthcare, with prescription administration, with some of those things, that will still keep those and they will formalize it so that those are things that people could do. Because before, it was, you might be able to do a little bit of telemedicine, but you couldn't cross state lines. So like if we were seeing a patient in the clinic while they were at school, that was fine. But if they went home to Cleveland, then I couldn't do a telehealth visit or bill for it. So I'm hoping that some of these changes really become formalized once that emergency declaration goes away. So we'll see. But I think it will, because nobody's willing to go back to what it was. And
No, it makes more
But
sense.
is
You're
telemedicine, can it be risky too? I mean, just
in
talking to
some
somebody, you're not
in
really
some
physically in the space, touching them, listening to them, hearing them. Yeah, I don't know.
there's some things you can do through telemedicine, and some things you do that physical face-to-face visit. If you need to do palpations and all that other kind of stuff, if you need to draw blood or whatever, there's some things that you still need to show up at a clinic or an office for. But there's a lot of things that we do, that particularly if you're an established patient. You know, if it's somebody that you see on a regular basis, why do I have to go back in for you to give me a update on my blood pressure medication?
I would agree.
You know, if I'm sending you my blood pressure readings, you know, that I take on my smartwatch, and you've got that, and we have a conversation on video chat, why do I need to come make an office visit?
Okay.
Yeah, I do agree with that. You know, I had to do a whole lot of doctor visits, and I'm like, at this point, it's almost like, hey, you good? Yeah, I'm good. You're fine, all right. And then I get a bill. Like,
yeah, right. You still get the bill. So there's
trust
something. There's some things you can't do that way, but I think there's a lot in the fact that our medical establishment, because I hate to call it a system, because it's really not a system, but it has been forced to change. I mean, I can't tell you how much mental health care has changed a lot because of that. And that has been, I think, a godsend for a lot of people.
I agree. I meet with my therapist on online, right? And in the past, you had to go to the person, talk to them. I'm like, this is so cool. There was a time I was in the airport again. And I'm like, oh, I gotta get on the call. We have to have this session. And I thought it was so amazing, because if we didn't have that, I would have missed the appointment. Right. So I think that's a great thing that has come out, especially in that time frame where we had so much going on in society.
It is a lot
to talk to.
Yeah, definitely. And we still do, because we got to figure out how to come out of this. I know on Sunday, our pastor was saying how we are almost afraid of people now, because like we were saying, somebody go to cough, we like,
No.
I'm not worried about the coffin. It's somebody said something I didn't like on social media, so I'm going to come and shoot them.
Yes.
I mean, we're not good at communicating anymore. We're not good at talking through disagreements. And
it is, you
know, and they blame it on shutdowns for COVID. And that might be part of it, but I'll be honest, here in Florida, we weren't shut down that long. Okay.
And I agree with you. I think that issue was already there. It was just heightened because of
it certainly made it worse. And so coughing, I'm gonna wear my mask, so I think I'll be halfway protected. You know, I'm still gonna back away.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna back away. I'm gonna have my mask on, but I'm still gonna back. I'm gonna be like,
exactly.
You need to take that to the house.
But there's still
and then wash my hands.
Right.
Yep.
Listen, there's another piece that this brought about. Is really not just the telehealth, but the religious aspect. When you said that earlier, Lisa, you know, we always had tele-evangelism with old school pastors, one or two, or mega pastors.
Yeah, but it's at an all-time high.
Church, right? Your local guy you could catch him, watch it, rewatch it over and over again. I thought that kind of changed the way we looked at how we help ourselves, not only on the medical side, but also on the spiritual side.
It is, but you know,
how we maintain that sense of community.
I don't know. I'm like,
yeah.
What'd you say, Miss Tatum? I'm sorry.
Well, I said it's how you maintain that sense of community. It's not
Yeah.
what you were used to, but it was like, at least I can do this until we can
Correct.
go back,
Right.
and it I think for me it provided a way for our ministers and our pastors to reach so many people that they couldn't have
Sure.
before, particularly doing, sick and shut-ins. You can only go visit so many people,
Correct.
and then
Correct.
when you stream in your service, you reach them all.
All.
Yeah, I agree that it is. I agree that it was definitely helpful, and it did change kind of the way we do church. But also, I think that it depends on the individual too. So, for those who are social, even though we have social media, to me that is not social.
No,
It is
To
social.
me,
out that
to
way,
me,
but it's
that
not.
that is the ultimate social distancing. That's what that is to me.
Well, it works for me sometimes.
But for people, and I say this because I have never been a person that is like to, be isolated and by themselves. And I mean, moments, sure, but I'm a touch. I'm a
Hugger.
yeah.
Right,
And I'm like, I'm sitting in a room for months at a time, with nobody to talk to. And I get you can talk to people on the phone, you could do this right here. This don't feed me in the same way as if somebody's sitting right here on the couch with me and we having this conversation. Are we playing taboo? Are we playing spades? Are we, you can't play spades on Zoom.
Yes, you can.
No, you
Yes,
cannot.
can. There's a new
cannot.
spades app for
No,
those of y'all who
no,
didn't know.
no. That is not the same thing. It
Listen,
is not the same
my
thing.
child said, just like text messages, people read it and take it how they want to. It's not the same thing when you have a verbal conversation.
Right.
I agree with
That's
that.
from a newly 18-year-old. Just thought I'd put that plug in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but it's so true. I mean, even when we first got cell phones, okay, so we talking on the cell phone, then all of a sudden we texting. It could be taking so many. Do you know how many arguments I done almost had by the text? And now y'all fine with just Zooming church. No, let me come in the building.
I think that person-to-person interaction is so valuable and it is so needed. And I think that's certainly what's led to some of our problems right now, because some people really just don't have that. And it's one thing to put something on social media, but it's a whole nother thing to say it to somebody's face,
A whole different word.
So
Yeah.
it
Oh,
changes
they both.
But Lisa, you and I are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm the kind of person that'll stay home and I'm as happy as a clam. And I'll call my sister, I'll call my mother, and hope my brother doesn't call me. But it works. It works. But it's I think we're all learning and moving through the changes that we've had to go through, and we've all learned how to deal with some isolation.
Yep.
And learning how to look out after other people, because before we didn't do that as well. And now I'm hoping we do better, but I don't know.
I think that's my piece right there is yes. And, I'm a very social person, but I'm also very introvert in that way. Like I like my space in my space. So if it's trying to go out and have a good time, no problem. But if I know that I'm going to put myself or other people at risk or in danger, I don't need to be there.
Yeah.
There's no reason for me to be in that space.
Sure. I get that.
I'll be honest. Church scared me to death. Well, let me just be honest right up front. I don't go. I take care of myself. I have my own church. But
so you're bedside Baptist.
Bedside
Baptist.
Actually, no, I'm usually out walking my dogs and I say my prayers in and I talk to God.
That's his bedside.
It works. So I'm not in bed, but
on the walk side.
When pandemic first started, the choirs scared me. I wouldn't have stepped foot in a church. Nowhere
Yeah.
close. There's just no way. So it's not the same now. It's altogether different. It's not so much of an issue. So I'm sure. I know Miss Buckman's going back to church. Everybody's going back.
Well,
to
you
church.
know what?
We
I
to church.
went back last year one time, and that was December. So, you know, at that point I was masked up, and which was great because my church said, no, if you're coming in here, you have to wear a mask.
That's
Mhm.
So
good.
they gave masks away even to this day. I was like, oh, that's good that they're still giving masks away at the door.
That's good.
But the choir, they put up a big plexiglass. I thought, oh wow, interesting, because you know that's singing, that's getting that voice. I'm like,
That projects a whole lot.
oh yes, yeah, you at the front row. No. But we're so close, especially in that environment. Like that's a
Yeah.
it's not just church, it's a family.
Yes, it is.
So you're so close with the people. You want to hug, you want to say hi, you want to.
Mhm.
It's just, I think, to me, understanding how viruses and how they work, and how you can get the any type of cold, literally, from
Mhm.
just a cough or something like that. I'm like, nah, I think I'm good.
I think people take risks when they want to take risks. I'll put it that way.
Mhm. I mean, and they do. I mean, I've noticed that I've hugged a few people recently. Because let me tell you, last year there's no way. I mean, give you a fist bump, and I'm good, you know. But yeah, I gave somebody a hug today because they were leaving, and I wasn't going to see them anymore. But so people do what they need to do.
I think that's fine when you're masked up. It's just that conversation and the talking, writing. You're like, here, nah, we can't. Be. So if I'm gonna give you a hug, you can get your hug, get your bro hug, and then keep it moving. But we can't have these conversations like, hey, what's going on? Blah blah blah. It's too close. I still need my space, you know.
So think about when you go in somebody's office. Where do you sit? Before, we used to get the chair and move up close to the desk,
Right.
you know, to make
Right.
sure they were watching you and you had their attention. Now I'll take a chair and I'm on the other
Way
side
back.
I have plexiglass on my desk, so sit behind the glass.
Sit behind the glass.
Yeah,
I don't have plexiglass, but I also don't have too many people in my office. So
I don't have too many people.
There's when my students come in, I have to put my mask on.
Yeah.
But there are other people who may walk into the office that I know. Hey, you know, come on in. I think there has been a lax moment with certain people in certain situations, but I do think there are several people who are still trying their best to make sure that we're not spreading and hurting each other just by being around each other.
I mean, for me, I still test every week. It's
really?
routine. It's a habit. I test every week.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
But then I'm in different.
I was going to say
you're in a different role.
I'm in different circumstances. I work in a clinic, and I'm really at the testing site, or I'm in our COVID lab. So, but it's just a habit I started, and I just test every week. So,
speaking of testing site, I thought that they were going to close FAMU's testing site at the end of last year, the December 31st.
No, ma'am. We only closed for the holiday. That's it. Yeah.
No, but what I was thinking in my mindset, and a lot of other people were too, that they were closing the testing site permanently.
Nope, not yet. Not on
I know it's closed permanently because I know it was by several people that went there. Several.
Yep.
I was just going to ask that. Are you seeing the numbers still where people are actually using the site?
We're seeing anywhere between 100 to 200 people a day. And that is, I think, a pretty significant number. It's not the 4,000 we were seeing a day when it was really crazy, but 200 is nothing to, turn your nose up at. So, and if it's, a service that people need,
Yeah.
and our numbers will bump up next week
When the
because
students come
students coming back, students will be back on campus. The schools will be opening back up. And I know a lot of schools and some preschools and stuff have said, go get tested before you show up. I know we have a lot of physicians or pediatricians in town that tell their, you make an appointment, that's great, but everybody in your family go get tested before you come into the office. So we're still there. They're still needed, so we're still open.
So welcome to 2023, because look like we just keep on rolling.
Yeah, we got some new variants out there. I'm hoping they don't cause too much of a problem, but I don't know yet because the latest one's not really, we're not seeing it in Florida just yet. It's still up in the Northeast.
Lord, we ain't got it yet.
What's the name of that one?
That's the XBB 1.5.
Wow.
Yeah. So
we left the Greek alphabets.
Oh yeah, they left the Greek alphabet. There are just of the Omicron variants, there are like 17 different Omicron.
Oh my God.
Variants of Omicron. 17. It's crazy.
Wow.
13 of them are circulating here in the US.
Wow.
So I'm, but now's the time we've got more people from the north that'll be moving to Florida for the winter. We've got all of the students coming back in, so I'm gonna, I'm expecting to see an increase.
So, Ms. Tatum, are you now seeing a little light at the end of the tunnel?
It's much better. It's much better. I'm not nearly as stressed out as I was.
Yeah, because I was praying for you.
Thank you. That's the only thing that got me through. Trust me, people praying for me. I don't have 18-hour days anymore.
Good.
Now they're 12, but they're not 18. So it's manageable. I'll say more manageable now. I'm just really trying to keep my fingers crossed that one, we don't see anything crazy, new crazy variants that cause more illness coming out of China, because they've just got an explosion going on there.
Right.
And opportunities to have really bad variants is extremely high. So we just gonna have to see how that plays out. There are 7 billion people that live in China, or whatever that number is anymore.
Right.
It's just an enormous outbreak, and it's just getting started. It's just
and then the thing
started.
is, they're tired, of the mandates of this and that. It was just a lot for them. So now the people are like, okay, enough is enough. Because I think they're seeing it from other countries that, they're free and they're walking around. Why we have to kind of stay the way we are? I mean, testing every day. You can't go in or out any places without getting tested, and they're breaking down testing sites. It's a lot.
It's a lot. And the fact is that they pretty much abuse some people. When you have a lockdown and you won't let the firemen go to put out a fire, that's just not okay.
That's a problem. Yeah.
And so people really suffered, and people starved and everything else. It was kind of crazy. The problem is they have a really low vaccination rate. So while they can say, they're not doing this in these other countries, the fact of the matter is there's totally different circumstances. In Europe, you've got a much higher vaccination rate than you do in China. So you can't, it's not like comparing apples to apples. You've got apples and bananas, It's
Were
different.
they trying to push more, herd immunity?
They weren't pushing herd immunity. They just didn't want it at all.
Wow.
The government felt like if we can prevent it from spreading at all, that's the way we want to go. They had a zero COVID tolerance, zero.
No, they wanted the money.
Yeah.
Off the pharmaceuticals.
Wow.
Yeah. So
It's,
we're just gonna have to wait and see how that plays out, you know. So I don't know.
I was thinking of going back again to students coming back and the city coming, going back to its regular pace. Before that, going into the holidays, did you see an increase in terms of the number of students coming in for like flus? Because I saw that in a few of my students are like, don't come to class, go ahead and stay home, because if you're not feeling well, there's no reason for you to be here.
Yeah. Our flu season kicked off early this year.
Yeah,
it did.
A lot
And it's more serious than it was the last few years. So, I mean, we actually happen to be working with a study with the CDC and a company called Westat and about 3-4 other universities. So we were, advocating getting vaccinated and enrolling people in this flu study. And we saw it. It started much earlier than it usually does. Like, we don't usually start seeing that big increase in flu until like mid-January, February. That's when it really takes off. But we saw that in November.
Wow.
Yep.
So
Because I had somebody's cooties for Thanksgiving.
I remember that.
Oh, bless your heart.
Was not happy. It was
so
not
sorry.
COVID. It wasn't the flu, but somebody gave me something before I left that campus, and I was hot.
Well, there's just so many respiratory viruses that are out there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many. And like, they had problems with RSV. That particularly affects small children, older adults. But we were seeing middle-aged and younger getting it also. To the numbers that we had with children and elderly, but it's still bad. It's still bad. Between the flu, COVID, and RSV, our hospitals got really bombarded.
Yeah, my granddaughter had RSV. She's had it about 3-4 times.
Yeah.
And I know we're running out of time, but my thing that I've been thinking about is how all of these issues are still related in some type of way, right? So in the long term, how is RSV going to hurt the individual? How's COVID going to hurt the individual? We saw just recently the NFL guy, what's his name, just fell out in the field.
Dunmar or something like that.
Yeah.
Hamlin.
But besides him, because of him, a lot of others have shown up. Like, hey, this didn't just happen to him. More and more athletes are falling out in terms.
So he had COVID before then?
No, I don't know if he did, but I'm thinking in terms of understanding.
Unrelated.
Yes, but I'm thinking of the long-term effects of how that may hurt the individuals, whether it's heart issues, whether it's respiratory issues, whether it's immuno health issues. We don't know the long term.
We don't know. Yeah.
The one thing that's going to be studied for a long time is COVID, because the receptors that where they attach to the body are found in all of our organ systems. It's not just a respiratory virus. And so they found that there are impacts from COVID in the neurological system, in the cardiac system, in your gastrointestinal area, your liver. It's so that we're going to be seeing and studying for a good while. It's going to be 10 years and they go, oh yeah. So, it probably wasn't a good idea to get it 3 times, 5 times, because I have some students that'll come up and say, yeah, I've had it about 5 times and it's okay. I don't need vaccinated. I'm good. And I'm like, that's like Russian roulette to me, but we'll keep studying it. We'll find.
That's because it feels like a cold.
Yeah. And it's not. And I think that's one of while it's not as serious as it was, at the beginning, we don't know enough about it and about its long-term effects. So I don't want to treat it like a cold, because it's not. It just isn't.
But some of the media, Miss Tatum, some of the media that's coming out, they almost like when you go get your flu vaccine, get your COVID vaccine. It's like, oh yeah, but oh yeah, told us not to do that. Now the media, some of the commercials like, oh, get your flu vaccine, get your COVID vaccine. You know, like,
Well,
okay,
they
which
they
make
they
up your mind. Is it serious or no? First you,
actually they want you to get both of them. They
Both.
do, and
but
they
no,
Both.
found
but
that it's okay.
I need you to not equate the two. Cause now it sounds like y'all saying it's just like the flu, just like you get a flu vaccine, get this vaccine.
They're trying anything
So
they can to
is
get
it
people
a
to get it.
flu or is it not a flu? If it's not a flu, y'all need to say that. This is
Yeah,
getting confusing.
yeah, but I'm about vaccine high. And
So when you
that's
get
for
to be an
real.
old lady like me, you know, when they come out with something else, you're gonna go, okay, all right, go ahead and give it to me.
Listen,
Basically,
just go ahead,
I'm
put
with
it
you,
in.
Kim. I'm about vaccine out
I'm
too.
talking about there's a vaccine for everything. Just shoot me. Well, you don't even tell me what it is. Just shoot me.
I'm still scared that in 10 years, 15 years, I'm gonna see a law commercial saying if you were vaccinated with such and such and so and so, you may be
Call
have
this number one
compensation.
eight
The
hundred.
government has approved this many billions of dollars. Come and get yours.
Boy, when I
Listen,
tell you,
to be
I got vaccinated. Y'all was pushing me. I got vaccinated. I got boosted. But oh my God.
yeah.
there's
Yeah.
another booster. Now you got to
I'm
get a
coming to
booster
see
to the booster.
France and I'm coming to see Miss Tatum.
No, but now you got to
If
get a
they
booster to the
commercial come
booster.
up,
Listen, you
Come to
guys
me,
know
it's
my,
okay.
you know my plight, you know, and I got boosted, all of it, and it affected me in a different way. And I think that's the other thing that we don't know. We don't know how it's going to affect the individual.
yeah.
For me, Miss Tatum, I know, I think you know that it affected me cardiac, my heart, essentially.
Mhm.
And I do think that there's going to be some issues coming back in terms of,
Oh,
hey, if you were in this category, blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
yeah.
But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I do think that we're in a better space than China.
Oh yes.
We're
Oh
in a
Yeah.
yeah.
better space than a lot of other countries. I do think that there was a lot more that could have been done and to ensure that more people were not hurt or affected by the vaccine in terms of like myself. But I guess leadership had to make a decision on how do we save as many lives, because that's a lot of
Yeah.
people that die
Yeah.
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 in a short period of time.
Yeah.
And it's not a war. It's like I woke up the next day, I'm done, I'm gone, and this person and that person. This is crazy
Yeah.
because the funeral homes couldn't even keep up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you
But I
think
do think
about,
moving forward in the future, we need to, and I shared this on the show before. Ms. Tatum was with you too, as well, in terms of African Americans understanding our own biology and our own makeup in terms of medicine. How do we heal ourselves mentally, physically, emotionally? All of that is different for us, and we're not putting enough resources towards our
Yeah.
ethnicity, right? And our makeup. It's just different. We have a lot alike, but I don't know if there was enough studies and stuff done to say, okay, yeah, because you're here, you might not want to take this, but we have this for you.
yeah, there's a lot more work to be done, and I'll be honest. If you recall, we had pandemic plans, all kinds of stuff in place under Obama.
Yes.
One of
I
the
was gonna
first
get to
things
that.
that President Trump did when he got in office was abolish the office,
Yes.
fired everybody, threw the plan in the trash. And they didn't take care of stockpiles.
Right.
And there was no money to continue any of the research. So yeah, we're always going to be, well, at least up, and still we continue to be the underdog when it comes to medical research.
Yep.
I mean, I think with the COVID vaccines, the pharmaceutical companies made a real effort to include a significant minority population in their clinical trials. And they did do that because that was the first thing I looked at. It's like, yeah, who was in the trial?
Right.
But you're right. There isn't enough research. And part of, and I put some of the onus back on us too.
Mm-hmm.
We are, in some respects, so distant from and untrusting of the medical and research community. We're not participating
Nope.
in some of those research studies and things where, I mean, it's a challenge now, but I think in 10 years, we're going to be dying because we're not participating, because medicine is moving more towards individual and specified treatments for a person. And there are more genomic studies being done.
Yep.
We're not participating.
Yeah.
And I actually got that done because of this process. They had to go back and look at my genes and everything. But you know, the thing too, Miss Tatum, is we have institutions, right? So we have, you know, FAMU #1. It's my school. It's my place. We got to get our pharmacy programs and our other programs to say, okay, yes, we're learning and we're growing from what's there, but we also need to start looking at home too. And that's my theory. I'm not going to just put FAMU out there.
No, and you're right. You're absolutely right. Part of one of the challenges we have is a lack of money. Mm-hmm. There's a much greater struggle for us to get those research dollars. You don't have the support and the backing or the infrastructure in your institutions to be successful at getting some of those competitive funds. I'm participating in a project with Thermo Fisher Scientific and the Gates Foundation. And they funded 8 universities, HBCUs, to set up new COVID labs so that we could test and be able to help our own, so that we could, you know, keep operating and keep students in school and things like that. And so there's some offshoots of different research projects that are coming out of it. And one of them was looking at the variants and, you know, how that's impacting, you know, people of color and things like that. So, I mean, it's a constant struggle. But, you know, we've got to, you know, be in a position and be able to see far enough in the future that there's a need and a role for us, and then be able to secure the funding, you know.
That's the biggest issue for me, is because we do a lot of, you know, events, funding, organizations, they raise money, but it's for somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, we're raising it for this group, that group, but we really need to start mobilizing and organizing to say, okay, yes, we want to help society as a whole, but we still need to ensure that we are protecting our house as well. Because I'm telling you, they did a DNA test to say we need to check on this, that, and that to ensure, you know, how this has affected you. And it's weird that we're not really pushing it in our own house.
And it's so much, I mean, the hole is so much deeper than even just that. It's really technically healing. Our community needs to heal from the trauma and then move to trust.
Yeah.
There needs to be atonement for us to even move to, I mean, it's so much deeper than that. And unless we can, again, hold on, friends. I know you about to say
I'm about to say something. Yeah.
Again, I get what you're saying. Let's do it for ourselves. Right. I get that all day long. I get that. And yes, we need to grab hold of that as well. But even in doing it for ourselves, even in seeing, people that look like us in the room helping with the vaccines and da da da. There's still some folks that have not healed from the trauma, that have
Mhm.
passed this trauma on from generation to generation, that even seeing that, we still are distrustful.
Mhm.
But you made some great points. Like we have to have another kitchen talk for this one.
You
So,
always take us
literally,
over, friends. You always take us over.
I gotta put this last piece in because there is a real big push now, and you're seeing it all over in terms of using alternative medicines. One of the last classes I took at FAMU was on that topic. Not just using Eastern medicine, but using Western. The stuff that
Sure.
we grew up on, understanding the food that we eat, the
Sure.
the way that we live. That's all stuff that they're bringing back. But I don't know how we're integrating the two. Like there should be a space for the two to meet. But I feel like as people are saying, oh, it's either this or it's that. There's no
Well,
real
that's the money line right there.
That's the money talking. You're right.
Yeah.
That's the money. The
That's
thing
the
of
money
it
line.
is it's both.
Yeah.
I mean, and we have a Surgeon General who's saying one thing, and it ain't about the meds, okay, or the vaccines. The reality is we need both. We absolutely need both. There's a place and real benefit and value in some more natural healing methods.
correct.
And but not to the exclusion of
Modern technology.
modern medicine.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, how do I best heal and help the individual? And it's a combination. It's both.
I don't know how we do this, but every time it comes back down to the vote. Every time, Ms. Tatum. I already know what we talk about. But the vote comes back in because think about Obama during his era. And I'm not even going to Obama, I'm going to Michelle Obama, who's like, no, you got to take out all this fast food in the schools. We're going a little bit more healthier. We're going to do start your own farm, make your own food. We're going to exercise a little bit more. We're pushing that. That's how I grew up, right? You went to PE wasn't just, we're going to play ball. You exercise.
You exercise in PE. Right? They don't even have PE no more.
I was going to say, they don't have PE anymore. Yeah.
And we're taking away what really keeps us healthy, keeps us going. And I'm like, you need the balance. So it's like, just keep taking these meds. Keep taking these meds. You want to lose weight? Take some more medicine. You want to be smarter? Take some more medicine.
But not only do you not have phys ed, but you also have parents that don't send you outside.
Right.
Yeah,
my parents used to send us outside.
All
Y'all need to go outside.
It's like go outside.
You had to stay outside. So why
stay in the front yard?
I got to be out there. So now I got to find something to do. Red light, green light. Come on.
We're missing that middle ground, and I don't know. Again, that's
we all about this. We all about this.
It's that same study that we need to do for ourselves, right? For our own community to say, hey, this works. Let's stay on it. People that work in the thing, they shouldn't be able. Health. I agree.
I think so too.
I agree.
Yvette, you're going to start a whole nother conversation. You're going to make friends go even longer.
Listen, I'm done. I really wanted your take on that, Ms. Tatum, because, again, there is a push for alternative medicine. But we still need that balance. Like if I am taking this medicine, I may not want to do CMOS all the time because there's a conflict there. Or you know what? This is better. Instead of me taking all these meds, you know what? Just eating some avocados, getting some more iron in your diet may be a better route than you overwhelming your system with, what is it? NyQuil.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's also why I've also really worked to try to integrate medical health and mental health because you
Mhm.
can't have one without the other.
I
They
Absolutely.
agree.
both work together and impact the body in totality as opposed to
Absolutely.
you
Absolutely. That
can't
is so
totally
true.
separate them, you just can't.
You cannot.
So we got
You
to
can.
see people as a whole person.
And
So
that's what my last class
And
was
taking
about.
care of the whole
And you know
man.
that. I got to listen,
Yeah.
you know, I'm a massage therapist.
Oh,
And I,
wait, hold on. What did you say? What did you say,
key
France?
word is.
I heard is. Did you say
So
is? Or did you say was?
is the correct word, but I did say was because I've taken definitely a long hiatus from doing any type of work. But I needed to get work on myself,
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
right? So I said, no, I have to get back into my routine. As
mhm.
through school, I was getting it every day and I felt amazing. So I got to get back to my routine of taking care of me with the exercising, the massage, the eating right. We we just got to do a better job. And I don't know if that's marketing, whatever we got to do, but I wanted your take on that in terms of the alternative medicine and what can we do to put our community in a better position.
Yeah. So, Miss Tatum,
Mhm.
do you do resolutions or goals?
Okay, I'll be honest, neither.
I love it. I
I,
love
I
it.
I used to, and I started with resolutions. I moved to goals, and um, last year and this year, I'm like, I, I'm gonna keep going each day, like I need
Live in the
to.
moment. Live in the moment.
You know, there's some things I know that are out there that I'm reaching for, that I'm working towards, but I don't like to set myself up, and that's partly what happens. And then I get really frustrated and down on myself when I don't achieve those things.
Mm,
Mm.
And of course, at the end of the year, you're always like bright eyed about what you're going to do. And
mhm,
when things happen, and it doesn't mean that there's not progress,
mhm.
but
Right.
for me, it's a way of me not setting myself up. So,
So, do you celebrate the progress?
oh, yeah, yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
good.
And you do it, and it doesn't have to be a big milestone.
Sure.
I'd
Mhm.
rather do a little something for the little gains and goals,
Mm-hmm.
that you meet, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to something really big at the end that you might not make. So then that way it keeps me motivated to kind
Keep
of keep
on.
working on things. I don't, it's not in writing or anything. So I feel like I'm not going to set myself up. What can I say? Sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, I don't do resolutions because I'm like, I just ain't gonna make no promises I know I ain't gonna keep. Um, I do goals. So I have a vision
Mhm.
board.
Vision
Uh,
board. Yes. Team
yeah,
vision board.
I have a vision board.
I
So
think the other thing too, Miss Tatum, is it don't have to be for everybody. It just got to be for me.
yeah,
So it's
Yeah.
there. And if I make it, yes, I'm going to keep on. If I make it, congratulations and celebrate. If I don't, I need to keep pressing towards it, knowing
Yeah.
that I have a vision to achieve what it is I'm trying to achieve.
yeah.
There
Exactly.
is a end goal in turn, in
Yeah.
place.
So then one last question. Oh, Yvette saying something. Yvette, you gonna have us on here
We
all
should
night.
have just had Yvette on the show.
I know. I'm gonna
Wow.
have to ask her.
And she's right again.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
It
yeah.
agree.
saved a lot of lives.
I agree.
Um, I forgot what I was about to say.
Your final question.
It's gone. Oh, here it is. So what would the world have to see for us to be officially out of a pandemic?
Mm.
Ooh. So I think that's on two different levels. because the World Health Organization typically makes that declaration for the world. Whether or not we here in the US still see it as a pandemic or not might be different. I think we will see an end of a pandemic before the world will, particularly since China just blew up. Okay. So we really are moving towards a place where I think it's much more under control, not nearly where we need it to be, but people are functioning. Our society is functioning again. People are out, businesses are, doing things. Our economy is doing fine. Well, with the exception of inflation, but I don't know. My grocery bill is just outrageous. Okay,
outrageous.
I'm vegetarian, and it's only me, me and 2 dogs. But I don't think the world's going to be able to say it's the end of the pandemic yet. Not yet, because China has there's so many people in that Asian area that I think it's going to be a long time before that happens. But I do think, and it's much more political on our side here in the US. There are politics around it. So I think politics and money. And so I think our end of the pandemic period will definitely be different.
Well, we have started our 2023 off.
Hot.
With our update for COVID and everything else, and I'm pretty optimistic that it's gonna be a good year.
It's gonna be a good year.
It's a good year. Last year was a good year. We made it. We got out of it. So through the good and the bad, we learned something from it, and we are able to press on. So
absolutely,
and it was so much better at the end than it was in the beginning. So made a lot of progress.
So we're gonna see you guys back next week. Thank you so much, Ms. Tatum, for hanging out with us.
I love coming, and thank you so much, and thank you for what you're doing.
We're trying.
We love it. We do.
We are trying. So listen, if you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're watching us on Facebook, hit the like button. You don't want to miss these shows because France has so much to say.
Always. I got a mask for you guys too. I need to get that to you.
Huh?
A FAMU mask. I got one for you guys, so I got to get that to you. Ms. Tatum,
okay, cool.
Out to you as well. I know you're gonna have your real mask on. This is just
So
we need the fashion statement too.
Say it again.
I said we need the fashion statement too.
Right.
Yes, definitely. Now I will say those masks were getting very creative. They were getting very creative till they told y'all to stop wearing the K95 or whatever it was. KN, whatever it was. But yeah, they were very creative. I seen some. Listen, we're gonna be here next week, next Thursday, 9:00. Another great show for you all. Thank you, Ms. Tatum. Thank you, Kim Black, for hopping on. Safe travels to Dr. Marvin Scott. He is on travel. JT is probably working. But we're gonna see you guys next week. It was a great show. I love it. And y'all come back now. You hear?
Yes.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Kitchen talk. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Kitchen talk. Let's talk. Conversations that cool. Let's talk. What you wanna talk about? Let's talk. What you wanna talk about?